Hi, Christiana. It's nice to meet you. I'm Jacqueline.
So nice to meet you.
I'm with ChurchPOP with EWTN. How are you doing today?
Good, good. Enjoying the well, I have very little time here, but I'm enjoying Philly. I'm in Philadelphia at the moment. We have a screening here, and I'm very excited about it because it's where Eustace Wolfington is based, and he's the one man behind the whole story. So this is very special to him and to me.
Well, the movie was outstanding. I just want to tell you that right now. It was so good. Your performance was just phenomenal.
Thank
And I loved it. I loved it. It was so moving and so powerful. And I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Thank you. That's very meaningful. That's important.
So why did you decide to take on this role? And did you know about Saint Frances Xavier Cabrini before this? Or did you just hear about her when you auditioned?
Um, I I knew something about her, not much. It was when I got the role that I then started researching and I found out what a wonderful woman she was and uh, how she was strong-willed in ways that um, we have forgotten how to be. So um, to have such power, it's something that really just occurs when you have you really strongly believe in something, and she did, and she set an example. So the more I found out about her, the more I was impressed by her work and um, her values and all she stands for. And it's one of the reasons, among the many others, one of the reasons why I wanted to play her. She did set an example. She represents um, all the good things that we nowadays need the most. A sense of community, respecting others, being inclusive, and put into action what our thoughts and our beliefs and what she believed in. She always believed that she always thought that it serves nothing if you only um, think that you should do good. You also have to do good. So she was always out in the streets helping others. Um, that part of her character is what made her, it made the project really important for me too. It wasn't just another story. It wasn't just another acting job. It was a meaningful one. So I was very happy. When I got the role, I was so happy.
Well, clearly you were meant to have it because you really portrayed her in such a meaningful way and a powerful way. And I really feel like from my perspective, I could see that Mother Cabrini was acting through you as well. So that leads me to my next question. What about Mother Cabrini's life story touched you and inspired you in playing this role as a Catholic nun, no less?
um, I, she's always introduced as the first American saint, and that's a very important aspect of her. It defines her in many ways because to become a saint, it really means that you must have done something good. But there was one thing that's related to this aspect of hers, of her. She was very human, and that's the one thing that touched me the most. She's always described, sometimes you'll always hear Alejandro describing her as a superhero. We always talked about her being, maybe in a very modern, contemporary way of imagining a superhero with superpowers. But actually, she didn't have superpowers. She did heroic acts, but she was very human and very relatable, and empathized with people. And that's the one thing that moved me the most about her. So yes, I would say that. I would say the fact that She was one of us. And in the most Christian way you can think of, if if you want to really compare it to someone. she she just understood the power of action, and she used it.
So what did you do to become her character? How did you make that happen?
It's always a different process each time. So in her case, I would say that I eventually I understood I had to let her come to me. I had to let it happen on its, she had to have space. I had to let leave space for her and let it happen, everything at its own pace. So I moved to Buffalo a month earlier, prior the um, um, the shoot, because I needed to be on my own for a while in my own little bubble, literally on my own. Yes, I met with Alejandro, I met with Gorka, the director of photography. I was witnessing the set being built up, which are all things that helped me understand the environment and the world that would be thrown in once we would start shooting. But at the same time, I needed to read the script back and forth as many times as I could, and I used music. I used, I used even nature. Just contemplating nature for me was an element to add to my research, because it needed that it meant that I had to use less of my head and more of my heart. So apart from all the technicalities that come with the craft that you learn over the years in your career, how someone walks or how someone talks, those are things that you just sometimes just choose, out of 10 options, and you just imagine, what that would be. She would walk in a way. Alejandro and I agreed on the fact that when she walks, she walked with purpose. Someone who's been diagnosed with tuberculosis and knows that she might not live long enough to see her projects come true, she would want to have, a quick pace in her walk, and she'd go straight to, to the point, straight to the final destination. So she would walk in a specific way. But apart from that, it was the heart that I needed to understand, and that came, yes, with all these bits together. The fear of maybe dying soon, but also projecting that onto other people, and understanding other people's pain in a more in a closer way, because she was dealing with it too. But yes, as well, just let her come to me in a more spiritual way.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So what was there any specific scene in the film that just really set with you, that any experience that you'll just never forget about this movie and shooting this film?
Mm, hmm. I mean, the whole thing in itself, it was a huge, it was a great experience because of the love that bonded each one of us. I guess I'm trying to think. It's maybe the outcome of it all. When I left, I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but when I left set, when it was all over, all included, including what with the bits that we did later on in Rome. We shot everything in Buffalo. Then there was some time in between the Italian set, the shoot that we did at the Vatican, because you can't reproduce the Vatican anywhere. And then, so the final week was the one spent in Rome, once everything was over, finally over. And I had to let her go. I had the strong feeling that I was forgetting something. And I've only had that once in my life, and that was back in London. It was a completely different situation. I was a drama student, and when I left the grounds of my school, same thing. I was walking down the stairs, I remember, and I just had this strong feeling that I was forgetting something somewhere. The same happened with her. And I have a feeling that it's because I left a part of me there. It was a strong emotional moment that I will never forget. That's probably more, it's probably more important than any other thing that has happened throughout the shoot, because you work, you're in the moment, and you wake up, you go to set, you do your thing, then you, for a second, you yourself just to eat something at night, go to bed, and start all over again the following day. So you don't even, sometimes you don't even realize the time that is passing, because you're so immersed in the story, in the movie, in the work. But after all that was over, that was strong for me. That was a very strong moment, that summarizes everything. I really just, I thought I was forgetting something, and I think it was a part of me that stayed with her rather than the other way around. You know, I left. I miss a part of me that is with her somewhere.
Do you think you'll I don't know, get that back?
I don't want to.
You don't want
I like
to?
it. No, I like it. I like it this way. It really, because what's missing is the one thing that will always leave a little space for me to search for her, to search for that part of me. It's important to be lacking something. If you have everything, if you're always, sure of everything, then there's always something missing for you to be pushed into, to search for it, to fill it, to fill yourself with it. So I want it that way. I want to feel the little bit of melancholy, the little bit of need for that part, that is, because it will bring me back to all the memories every time I need, every time I feel, every time or whenever it happens without me even noticing it. So I need that.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me. What do you hope that once the audience sees this film, what do you hope that they take from it? What do you want them to feel? What do you want them to take from it even if it's just for a moment, or even if they take it for the rest of their lives? What do you want them to take?
To recognize themselves in the story. We want stories because we want to be told who we are. We want to see ourselves projected into it. Yes, we want to learn, but what's the best way to learn something? If we see some bits of us in the story, we want to be portrayed ourselves. We want to, otherwise it's more difficult to get a connection, but that helps it. So I want people to recognize themselves in whatever bit of the story that is. Overcoming difficulties, or we talk about immigrants, so maybe being an immigrant and coming to a new land where nobody, and it's difficult for you to get started, or any part of the story, any bit of it. As long as they recognize themselves, I am sure that people will connect, and then they will find a way through it, and they will appreciate the value of what Cabrini was able to do, and they will learn that is a way of living as well. It is something that can impact people's lives, even if it's just by, oh, okay, now next time I wake up, tomorrow when I wake up, I'll make sure that in my really full daily schedule, I'll make sure that I have time to do some good for others. We tend to schedule, and I do that too, we tend to schedule everything for like accomplish very personal things, improving oneself, which is important, but to be able to leave space for that, we want to have light to shine on our lives, but that can also shine back on other people. So, if we leave a little bit of space for that, it's then half of the work is done.
Is there anything else that I didn't ask that you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, I don't know. I just maybe the one thing I can think of is just to yeah, I don't know, just to go to the movies, go to the theater with an open heart, and I am sure that you'll find how this woman has set the bar really high, but it isn't impossible to achieve what she achieved. It's the bit by bit, and this is, I mean, I can't spoil the movie, but she did it like step by step, and you should never be afraid of how long it takes to achieve something, because once you put your mind to it, you can do it. So maybe that's probably one other thing that people can take away from it when they go watch the movie.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to answer my questions. They were all very beautiful, and I can't tell you how much I just love the movie. It was so good, and I'm hoping that people really come and see this movie because it could change a lot of people's lives.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I hope so too. Thanks a lot.
Of course.
All right.
I was told that you were rejected by 3 different orders, each time for weakness of constitution.
Your Holiness, we can serve our weakness or we can serve our purpose, not both.
My sisters, if we are to build an empire of hope, it seems we must first conquer New York.
Filthy Dagos. They just keep coming.
Mio papà si è suicidato e mia mamma è morta di tifo.
In America, the greatest nation on earth, rats have it better than the children of 5 points.
It's not safe. Not for you. Be careful, or this place will eat you alive.
Doctors tell me 5 years.
5 would be a miracle.
In that case, I should get to work. I need an orphanage with more room, where my children can be children.
I'd like you to keep your crime and your filth out of this neighborhood.
The mayor will find a way to get you out.
You have an election coming up, do you not?
I believe I'm being threatened by a nun.
You have swatted the hornet's nest.
Get out, Dagos! Go!
I want the best hospital for your people and for mine. We have to show America we are all people of dignity.
This project is overly ambitious, perhaps unrealistic.
We are bold, or we die.
This is how I learned to live in America.
Cabrini, you would have made an excellent man.